Happy Tuesday. Let me get my camera right. Happy Tuesday. Today is the 18th day of January. This is the 12th episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reach optimism and many other things. And helping everyone reach optimism is the idea that as you help others, you help yourself. And that's best experienced by volunteering your time and your energy, not just your money. That's been my experience. All right, so originally, the Be Your Own Hero movement was about me uplifting and inspiring the unhoused. It's still about that, but it has expanded, including this show. So shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to be here and talk about my journey of being my own hero. There's the website, ntmedia.org. It is a 501c3, so please make a tax-deductible donation. Add them to your season of giving. That said, just a reminder, I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor. So do your own due diligence, do your own research. Don't just rely on what I say as I continue to do my journey of becoming my own hero. And check me out here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. 8:45 Central, 7:45 Mountain. And New Thought Media Network is actually based in Mountain Time. It's based in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. Okay, so if this show provides any value, please like, please comment, please share, please make a donation, please buy something from the Hero Shop, which is my website, sekouwrites.com. And also on my website, you'll find out all the other things that I do. Reminder, I just created a Instagram account for Get Rich, my podcast, Get Rich 101 Podcast. So the Instagram handle is that, at Get Rich 101 Podcast. And the podcast, of course, is called Get Rich 101. We talk about that a lot on the show. But if you're new to the show, that's my podcast about getting rich. It's about the mindset of abundance. Okay, all that said, let's get into some hero ministry movement news. Shout out to the heroes in the chat. Happy Tuesday, Gladys. Happy Tuesday, Tim, with the coffee and the water. Oh, got my water. All right, good reminder. Day 5, that's what's up, Tim. So shout out to all the people who are doing the 30-day challenge. I think was it Linda that asked me for the code for the link to the group? I think so. I will double check the comments from yesterday, but someone asked me for the link and wants to join. I will send that to you shortly. We've got a nice, healthy group of folks who are challenging themselves to do the same thing every day for 30 days in a row. And it's a community now. There's lots of comments going on in that Facebook group. We had some new people come over from my interview with Regina Smithwick. So just a reminder, I was on Regina Smithwick's podcast. It's called Let's Talk 1943. And I was just on this podcast, there we go, a couple days this weekend to talk about Get Rich 101. And that's when I created the Instagram account for Get Rich 101. That said, a couple people came over from that podcast to join the group. And also, Rev Mel watched the replay of that podcast because there's a video component. I posted the link. You can find it on my social media. And she was very tickled at how animated I was. And so was I. Like, I was really animated. So was I in terms of I was really tickled by how animated I was on their show. I was way more animated on their show than I was on mine. I don't know what that's about. I think it's the repartee. But anyway, go check it out if you haven't yet. It was a pretty cool interview. And we talked all about wealth and abundance. And I was about to say 38 minutes to die. Did we talk about 30 minutes? No, but we talked about the 4 agreements. And I'm skipping all over the place. Let me save that for the Zen. Okay, so Hero Ministry Movement news still going. This is season 3. The season theme is doing. And so I am attempting to impart as much practical advice as possible from me, from others, just giving ideas about how to go about creating wealth and abundance in your life. Also, this is day 232 of my run streak. day 232. I've been running every single day, at least a mile a day for 232 days in a row. I do post a run report on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on a couple places on Facebook, actually. So go check out the run report. I try to hit the record button as soon as I finish running while I'm still kind of out of breath without thinking about what I'm going to say. And so those videos are all extemporaneous. It's just off the top of my head. And by the way, sidebar, a friend of mine, shout out to Jay Sheets, he said the other day that I need to have a show called The Jogger. And I was like, at first I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Then I realized I do have a show about jogging, and it is my run reports. I've been doing run reports, wow, since June of last year. I didn't start with the first day of me running, but by the end of that first month, I was doing run reports. So wow, that's a lot of run reports now that I think about it. Anyway, the place where you can kind of binge watch the run reports is TikTok, because that's basically the only thing I posted on TikTok is run reports. So they're all together. But otherwise, you can find them on my other social media channels. So I do have a show about jogging, basically, and the lessons that running has imparted over time. So today's lesson, bringing that full circle, was about time and how I have often tricked myself into thinking there's not enough time. When I start running late, I think, oh, there's not enough time. I can only do a mile because I got to get back inside and do the show. Like I have this whole dialogue running. But today I needed to run. And there are days when I need to run more than others. And there's a big difference I have come to find out. Ooh, I'm off on a tangent now. But anyway, there's a big difference I've come to find out between running a mile and running 3 miles. Physiologically, there's a huge difference. Like now, running a mile, like I barely break a sweat, which is incredible to say, but I barely break a sweat. I'm barely out of breath. So for those short runs, they're short to me now. I need to run faster if I'm only going to run a mile. But if I run 3 miles, or if I run a full 5K, like I just feel better. I feel more centered. I feel more leveled off, and even more for the longer runs. For the longer runs, they've leveled me out even more. So anyway, I know I'm on a tangent, but the point is that I needed to run today longer than a mile, and so I just committed to it, and I knew that I would be late. Quote unquote, that I would be late for the show, but I did it anyway, and I wasn't late. I still had plenty of time. And of course, I did that thing that you do when you have plenty of time. I started doing extra stuff. It blew my time. You know how that goes. But I realized that I had been tricking myself into thinking I didn't have enough time to fully show up for myself. I've been showing up for myself every day for 232 days. But now that I know that the longer I run, the better I feel, then I need to show up for myself in that way and run further. So that was a good lesson for me today. I hope there's something in there for you. Okay, so that said, where are we? Oh, the streak list, the 30-day challenge list. I'm not gonna do the names. I will wait to do the names until I add the person who just asked to join. I'm pretty sure that was Linda in Colorado, but I'll double check. Okay, so I talked about the busy weekend. Rev Mel and I celebrated the anniversary of Living Life in Joy twice. We celebrated on Sunday and we celebrated again on Monday. So if you missed those episodes, please check the replay. We did an interview. I interviewed her both days, and we introduced some new fireworks, which I'll show you in a second. And it was a good time, just reminiscing about all the things that have transpired from the beginning until now. So shout out to Rev Mel. I should say this now before I lose track of it. She is traveling. She got on a flight early this morning, so she's traveling. So the rest of this week for SIP is the best of Living Life in Joy. So stay tuned for that. It will, for those of you who never saw those episodes, it'll be fun to watch them at all. And for those of you who saw them before, you will be shocked at how much has changed. because I'm shocked at how much has changed from then till now. So today will be the very first episode of Living Life in Joy. So check that out. And speaking of which, here are the new fireworks. Check these out. Those are cool, right? Anyway, I'm excited about those. Okay, so all that said, where are we? Because I don't know, I've been bouncing around. You know what it is? It's the long run. It's a long run. That's why I'm bouncing around. So let me settle. Okay. So I mentioned the Instagram account for Get Rich 101. It's at Get Rich 101 Podcast. Also, the seminar. The first topic for the very first Get Rich 101 seminar is, oh, where's my drum roll? I wasn't ready. I wasn't thinking about doing a drum roll. Here, we'll do a mini drum roll. Is NFTs. Now, you've heard me talk about NFTs before if you've been watching the show. You've definitely heard about NFTs out there in the world, especially if you heard it here. Your reticular activating system is listening for it out there in the world. So I'm sure you've heard a lot about NFTs. Everyone is saying they're the next big thing, or let me rephrase, part of the next big thing. The next big thing is actually Web 3.0, the third big iteration of the internet. Like the internet itself is changing, is evolving and becoming many things that will include the metaverse, will include cryptocurrency, it will include NFTs. So some folks have been asking to talk specifically about NFTs. So that will be the first topic of the first Get Rich 101 seminar. That said, it's coming. Now, I know I said save the date for this coming Saturday, but we might shift that around because, segue, envelope challenge. I hope everyone is doing the envelope challenge. The only person that I know of that's doing the envelope challenge is Rev Melissa. I hope some of you have just been quiet about it, but you're doing the envelope challenge. So here is today's envelope challenge story. And I don't think I have one every day, but here's one. So as you know, if you've been watching the show, phase 2, or maybe not phase 2, my second charity run, let's say it that way. My second charity run ended at the top of December, and I've been getting the money to the 5 nonprofits that were the beneficiaries of that charity run. And so I realized that one of the checks hadn't been cashed, and so I've been going back and forth with that nonprofit, and they didn't get the check. Okay, so I called the bank, and I said, I'm going to do a stop payment on that check and do a reissue. And they say, okay, fine, it's going to take 10 to 15 business days. So I'm like, oh man, that's going to take a long time. So I'm thinking it's at least going to take a week before the money gets credited back to my account and then I can reissue. That's my thought. Okay, so I know you're wondering what this has to do with the envelope challenge. But here's the thing. That next morning, early in the morning, I pulled my number out of the hat. I don't even remember what the number was, but I went into my bank account to transfer that small amount of money from my checkings to my savings. And I saw that the full amount from the check had been credited back to my account already, like less than 24 hours, just overnight. And so, again, I would not have necessarily noticed it that quickly if I hadn't been doing the envelope challenge. So I noticed it quickly, and this time I zapped them the money instead of writing a check so they could get it immediately. They got the money, and now everyone has been compensated. So there's that. But I'm making a couple points. The first is that the envelope challenge has given me a heightened sense of awareness of what's going on in my account, and I'm able to react much faster. So that's number one. Number two, everyone has finally been paid from my second charity run. So very excited. Oh, so that's a legit reason for fireworks. So quick little baby fireworks. Everyone's gotten paid, and now there needs to be a culmination event of some kind. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to use Saturday, the 22nd, for that culmination event. So I'm going to reach out to the nonprofits and see if everyone's available, and then do like a group StreamYard where we talk to each other and we talk about what the experience was like for us, and kind of close the chapter on my second charity run before we move into the Get Rich 101 seminar. That said, I've already gotten some NFT experts to sign on for the Get Rich 101 seminar about NFTs. So I'm super excited. Like, I'm going to be able to present you with subject matter experts that can give you way more information than I can. So stay tuned. A lot going on. Okay. All that said, I think where I'm going to go is I got to respond to one of the comments. Shout out to Nan for holding me accountable. Yesterday, I talked about my friend that passed away, who runs a bookstore, and how he had given me a really big order for my jewelry, and I dropped the ball on it. And kind of in response to that, Nan asked me about something else that I got excited about. I was in Fashion Week in, September? I was in New York Fashion Week, and I got a consignment from this very prominent woman in the fashion industry. And I kind of let that slide. And so I appreciate the nudge, Nan. I reached out to her last night. So this is truly becoming a family now. You guys are holding me accountable to things. And for me, the connection is don't drop the ball. Like I dropped the ball with the bookstore, although I will reach out to the bookstore and say that I want to honor what was asked of me posthumously. So I want to honor what was asked of me. So I'll reach out to them when things settle and see what we can do there, mainly as a way to honor the fact that it was asked of me. He asked me to do two things before he passed, and so I want to honor both things. Anyway, I'll do that, and I also reached out to the fashion lady. And sidebar, I shout out to Gladys. I know she's watching. So my intention in reaching out to the fashion lady is to connect the two of you. Like obviously I'm in Nashville now and I can't, meet with her in person, but I already told her about you and that you are the subject matter expert about all things jewelry related. So my intention is to connect the two of you. You can make something happen for her. All right. So that's my goal. Okay. So all that said, I think I just want to talk about the charity run number 3. Charity run number 3. So I've done, as I'm phrasing it now, I've done 2 different charity runs, both of which were part of my run streak. And now it's time for the 3rd charity run, which is for Mr. Charles. So last night I created a GoFundMe, and I am going to hit the publish button right after this show because now is better than perfect. And I keep futzing with it. I was futzing with it last night, and I was futzing with it this morning. I'm just going to have to hit the publish button. So I will share the link tomorrow. Hold me accountable, and we will create this GoFundMe for Mr. Charles. For those of you just joining us, Mr. Charles was the man that I helped when he slipped and fell in the snow about a week ago, maybe a little bit more. And he broke his foot, and he's in the hospital and recovering. So that's the next charity run. And I'm eager to be on mission again, because no matter what kind of commitment you have to yourself, your own physical fitness, your own growth, your own, in my case, building of the so what muscle, it helps to have something pull you. It helps to be serving something greater, something beyond yourself. So I'm looking forward to doing my 3rd charity run. So tomorrow I will share the link. Okay. So I think that's all the things that I want to talk about introductory wise. Did I get everything? Yeah, I think so. So mornings in. Let's get into the mornings in. So as you know, I've been taking the 30-day mental diet class with Rev. Melissa. She's traveling today, so just a reminder, everyone else in the class, there is no class tonight. There's still homework. There's no class. And the homework is to continue our complaining diet. I don't know how y'all been doing, but it's been rough for me. It's been challenging. I'll put it that way. It's been challenging because it's easier not to say the complaint out loud than it is not to have the complaint in your head. And so what I'm finding is I'll begin to complain in my head, and I got to grab it by the tail and then redirect it and replace it with something else. So if anyone else has some tips or how they're doing with the complaining diet, let me know. This is not my first time doing a complaining diet, and it is very challenging. It's very challenging. So you guys let me know how you're doing. So 30-day mental diet, morning Zen. So I am on day 13, and this is the reading from day 13. So many things stood out to me from day 13. I read it early this morning, and I wanted to read basically the whole chapter. I was like, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, and I had to choose the thing that stood out the most for me. And this one just by a slim margin, because so many things stood out to me. Day 13 might be my day. But here's one. So day 13, the theme is stop being afraid. As much as you would like to avoid the responsibility of what you experience in daily living, it is largely the result of your own thinking. I'm going to read that part again. As much as you would like to avoid the responsibility of what you experience in your daily life, it is largely You know why? You know why I'm getting tripped up over it? It's because it impacts me so much. It's the same idea, but it's just something about the phrasing of this particular passage that hits me. So, one more time. As much as you would like to avoid the responsibility of what you experience in daily life, it is largely the result of your own thinking. If your thinking is constantly dwelling on all the negative things which could possibly be encountered, you will find yourself in trouble. Not because there's anything in God or nature that desires you to be miserable, but rather because it is such things that you are intent on finding. Right? Seek and ye shall find. Seek and ye shall find. Seek and ye shall. I don't know why I can't talk today. Seek, because I didn't have my water. That's why I didn't drink my water. Seek and ye shall find. So whatever it is you're looking for, you're going to find. And this takes us all the way back to physiological stuff. Like the reticular activating system is embedded in every single mind. No one doesn't have it. Everyone has it. And the way it works, I call it the filter seeker. It filters things out that it thinks that you don't need to pay attention to. And it seeks things. Whatever you're seeking, it will help you find. As soon as you start looking for things that need to be fixed, it's going to show you everything that needs to be fixed. But as soon as you start looking for things that don't need to be fixed, it's going to show you all the things that don't need to be fixed. That's the way the filter seeker works. So I highlighted one more passage I'm going to read, and then I'm going to move on. This is also from the 30-day mental diet, from the same chapter about stop being afraid, day 13. Develop a more cheerful outlook. Develop a more cheerful outlook. The wisdom in doing this rests in the fact that you always seem to find what you are looking for. See, I went ahead of the quote. I didn't even remember that I put that in there. But yes, once again, seek and ye shall find. So develop a cheerful outlook. Tune your mind to looking for the positive. It's a shift because you're going to start complaining. You're going to start looking at what needs to be fixed, start looking at what needs to be done. You got to shift to the things that you've already done, the things that are whole and complete. And that takes effort. Anyway, I want to say one more thing for morning Zen. And my alarm is going off, so I'm going to have to wrap this up quickly. But again, I was on Regina Smithwick's show, Let's Talk 1943. And I got a message. And I want to talk about this because this is the way that God works. This is the way the universe works. It's subtle. It's subtle. It's not like you're not going to get knocked over the head. You got to really just pay attention to the subtleties around you. So something happened recently that threw me for a loop. And I was able to say to the universe, I know this is happening for me, but why? Why is this happening for me? And maybe I got some responses to that, but I couldn't detect the responses from the universe. So I kept saying it. And I said, listen, I'm going to need a a stronger pull, a stronger answer, something that's a little more concrete for me. So during the show, during the podcast, this other book came up, The Four Agreements. And they were talking about how they're going to be talking about that book, The Four Agreements, soon come. And during the show, they were like, oh, Sekou, you should come back for that episode. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I didn't know if that was a real ask or just, something that was said during the show. But after the show, when we were in the green room, they were like, listen, do you want to come back for that show? I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I think I read a sample of that book. Okay. So once it got serious, I was like, okay, let me make sure that I got the book. And so I'm looking around in the library online to see if they have the book. And then I was like, well, let me check my Kindle app. I don't have the sample. I have the full book. And when I realized I had the full book, I remembered that Rev Mel had told me to read that book a while ago. And I guess I downloaded the book when she told me to read it, but I hadn't read it. And then I was like, okay, so the universe has been responding to me and is doubling down on the idea that I need to read the Four Agreements. So last night, when I was driving around doing DoorDash, I downloaded a summary of the Four Agreements. And I started listening to that. And I was like, ooh, okay. I see how this relates to that thing that I found challenging recently. It's the perfect answer. And so I'm going to read this passage that really stood out to me. Where did I put it? It's on my Kindle. So I'm going to read you this passage, and it really stood out to me last night and today. Here we go. Now, ready for this? Strong. You will know when you have forgiven someone, when you see them, and you no longer have an emotional reaction. You will hear the name of the person, and you will have no emotional reaction. When someone can touch what used to be a wound and it no longer hurts you, then you know you have truly forgiven. Strong stuff. So I invite you to look around at the subtleties that are currently present. And if you've been asking for advice from the universe, if you've been asking for a sign from God, I assure you that the sign has already shown up. It just didn't look the way you thought it would look. So look around. Okay, so I spent a lot of time talking about kind of random things today, and I don't have enough time to talk about money. So we're going to end with the affirmation. We're going to end with the affirmation and bring that into your consciousness as we close the show. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. So tomorrow, what I intend to talk about is individual stocks as opposed to ETFs and index funds. So let's pick up there. Until then, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect. Hold me accountable for the GoFundMe. And remember that Rev Mel is on vacation. So what you're going to see coming up is the best of Living Life in Joy. And the first episode will be the very first episode of Living Life in Joy. So I'll see you there later. Oh, where's my in with my fireworks? Where's my fireworks? Oh, there they go.